Okay, back at it with another past life regression story, and this one is weird. They're all weird. They're all weird. Okay, so all right. This one's been in the last couple months, I guess. Um, I've been having like little glimmers, like little glimpses of situations, and they've been starting to expand a lot lately. And per usual, I 777 on that license plate. That's so funny. 777 on that license plate. Well, uh, this one. Okay, so yeah, they've been starting to expand, and so more scenes of what was happening have. How do I even put this? All right, I'll just say what I've been seeing. It's obviously another past life, and in it, I was a young gentleman, and I think maybe I was in. I don't know if it was like the Victorian era. I think it was before that. Honestly, I think it might have been before that. And I was roaming around in like this garden area and talking to some family members. And a lot of my family members were concerned, and a lot of the people that we were talking to, they were really concerned and frustrated. A few of my family members were like really, really angry. And I was like, hey, what's going on? What's going on? And somebody told me, or my past life self, not my most previous past life, a different one. We'll circle back to that. Somebody told me that my sister in that life was doing some horrifically messed up stuff. Just messed up stuff. And I was so frustrated. I was pissed. So I went and like stormed off and like went out to the on grounds, like in the garden, to go talk to her. And I was like, no way you started doing this. No way you started doing this. Like, this is. He talked differently than I talk, but he's like, this is disgusting. Like, how dare you? Why would you think that you can do this? I won't tell you the details of what she was doing because my channel will just get booted off. And she had this demeanor about her that seemed really familiar. And like obviously in that past life it was my sister, so I knew who she was, but to me, like being like Inception in the back of his mind, like my past self's mind, I was like, who is this woman? Like, who are these people? And she had this look of just like just very like la wistful, just relaxed, like, oh, no care in the world, but not caring that she was doing literally just like pure evil acts. And I was so pissed about it because I couldn't do anything about it. I was like, hey, you need to cut this out. And she was like, literally like, oh, like it doesn't matter, like I'm beautiful and I'm rich and I can do whatever I want. And I was like, it doesn't matter if you're beautiful, like you're a terrible person, like you're a terrible person. And I was fighting with her and it was going nowhere. It was like la da da da, like nothing was happening. And so I stormed off and I was talking to some oh, my thing came on. I stormed off and I was talking to some other people. And I was like, she always does this. She always does this. Like, she is gorgeous. And so everybody lets her get away with murder. And she's just like an awful person. And I was like, maybe if I like have her married off to somebody like a very, very strict man, it'll calm her down or it'll stop her. And also I was like, also, I just kind of wanted to make her suffer because she was doing purely evil acts. And it was just like, oh, I'm beautiful, I can do whatever. And I was like, this is freaking evil. Like, this is evil. And so I kept having glimmers of that, and then of this whole situation, and then I would pop back, like a That's So Raven moment. I would like pop back, and I was like, what? Why am I getting this? Why am I getting this? And then it made me think, like, it reminded me of, if you look back at another video that I have, and it was like a booty call from my most recent past life, it reminded me of her. Because they did the same thing. It was the same demeanor of they were rich and gorgeous and had like rich, powerful parents. And because their parents, or in my case, like we had in that life, the previous one, we had the same parents, not the most recent one. They would just like tell them like, oh, you can do whatever, like you're one of the best people in the world. And so they like didn't question it, they just believed it. Like in my most recent past life, that booty call was also doing evil, horrendous acts, but she was just like, well, my parents say that I'm so smart and I'm so pretty and I'm better than everybody else and I can do whatever I want, because they're like, it was like talking to like a spoiled 4-year-old. It was like, and this has been one of like the lessons that I've noticed in this life, because in my most previous past life, I was not 100% bad, but I was an awful parent. I was an awful father in my most previous past life. And this is like the karma, a lot of the karma that I'm having to learn in this life is you need to pay attention to what you're saying to children. You need to say, of any age, your adult children too, you need to pay attention to how you treat them. You need to pay attention to the stuff that you say to them, because it gets stuck in there more than people think. Because in my most previous past life, I would just say whatever. I would say a lot of things to kind of like get them out of my hair. And the stuff that I said, they would like, it got those kids into trouble. Like they would parrot it and it would get them into trouble. And on those lines, with the sister in that life and in my booty call in my most previous past life, that was a lesson of like, even if you're trying to have your kid have a good ego and confidence and stuff, you need to pay attention to that, because you can't just create an evil, spoiled brat. Like, you have to have that fine line. You have to have that balance of building that confidence up without creating a monster. So, anywho, I kept having that repeat over and over and over. And then I was like, I don't know who I was or whatever. And then, like, same thing that happens in all my most previous past lives. I'll kind of get that situation. I'll, like, remember it fully. And then I'll get shown more and more. And so then I got shown more. And I turned and I saw a house. And then I was like, when I got back into this body, I was like, no effing way. No effing way. Because what I saw was the same house as in my most previous past life. And so I was thinking over and over again, and I was trying to remember like what people in the background were saying, little things I noticed. And I realized my last name in that past life was the same last name in my most previous past life. And I realized I have been, like, as soon as I had that moment, it was like this weird flash that my soul was like, I don't even know how to describe it, but I realized I have been getting reincarnated into the same family for so many generations to fix something, and I just haven't been doing it. I just have not been doing it. And I realized, I think the reason that my most previous past life and myself currently are so different is because I kept getting reincarnated into that family as a rich, upper class, white male, nonstop. And they were good men. Like, everybody has stuff to learn or whatever. They were good men, but they weren't like, they didn't have as much like empathy. They didn't have as much understanding with other people's way of living. They didn't have as many perspectives. This life, they were like, no, you're not getting it. Like, none of these people are getting it. You have to have something drastically different or else you're not going to fix it. And so, but it's just been really trippy to have that realization. And then I was like, oh my God, like, thinking about it over and over again, like, I had been reincarnating into that same family nonstop. And then for like the last few weeks, I started having more past life regressions to my most recent past self. Sorry if this is a lot to keep up with. And I remembered something. Okay. So I started having another past life regression of my most recent past life. And I was talking to my son. And we were walking down this hallway and we were looking at this portrait, and it was some portraits of our ancestors all like painted in this garden. And I had read like a lot of their diaries. I had read stuff about them, and my son was like asking me about these people, and then he pointed out this one woman who was beautiful. She was gorgeous. And I was like, "Oh, that was so and so's daughter, so and so's sister, da da da." And I went on this rant, and I was like, "She was an evil, like, bitch. She was like, I was going off. Like, I was taking it so personally." And I remember my son getting kind of confused and like looking at me like, "Okay, like, how do you know this? Like, how do you know this?" Because I think he was like, "Why are you taking it this personally? This is an ancestor that you've never met." Because I was like, like, I was pissed about it. And then said something, and I was like, my most previous past self, he didn't even know how he knew that much. And so he like lied, and he was like, "Oh, I read it in your grandfather's notes. I read it in like a journal or something like that." Because even I was like, how do I have this knowledge? Like, I don't even know. And it's because in my most previous past life, he didn't realize that one of his past lives was as that girl's brother in the same family. And it's just really wild because, like, it's just weird. It's just weird. My life is so weird. And, like, I'm kind of happy that we have, like, the worldwide internets here, so I can, like, rant to myself and talk about this stuff. It's almost like I'm keeping, like, a video journal. Because, like, I have, like, some hardcore ride or die friends who, like, believe a lot of aspects of this. Like, they believe what I'm telling them. I've told them a lot. But at the same time, it's like, even with that, I don't have, like, I have tangible proof. I just need to get overseas to get that proof. And so right now I know it's just like, oh yeah, Tanelia's like most recent past life, like that sort of thing. So I don't like to bother them about everything all the time. But so I'm just kind of like talking on camera. I don't even know. This is just trippy. So yeah, in the last few weeks I've been realizing that I've been constantly, not all of my past lives, because I do remember being in ancient Egypt, and I'm sure I've had other past lives in numerous cultures and everything, but most recently, and I mean my most recently in the last couple hundred years, I have been getting reincarnated nonstop into this one specific family. And every time I get the same soul contract, I get told the same thing that I'm supposed to do, and it just wasn't happening. And so it's just further illuminating to me why my life now is so drastically different. I knew this in my most recent past life. Like, I was really sexist in my most previous past life, and so I already knew that was part of like the thing I needed to learn in this life, is like how the patriarchy is destroying all of us. And I had to learn about like women and what it's like to be a woman and everything. But I'm realizing now it's much deeper than that, because that family has had generation on generation on generation of treating women terribly, treating the women in their families just terribly. And a lot of it was very looks based. Like, I remember, it's weird. I don't remember all of my past lives in that family, but I do remember glimmers of them. I was like, in a few of them, I was certain people's fathers, and I noticed I definitely treated like the women in my families, like my children, my daughters, I would treat them differently based on their looks too. And so it's like I would treat the girls way worse, even if it was like they're still good in life and everything, and I would just buy them whatever they wanted. Emotionally, I wasn't treating them very well, but I was like spoiling in all of those lives. I was always spoiling like the daughters who I felt like were like the most beautiful, but it was creating such issues because they didn't care about other people's feelings. They didn't care about much of anything else in the world, because all they were told through their life is like, you're perfect, you don't need to worry about anybody else because you're better than anybody else. Like, it's just really weird. It's just really, really, really weird. And and I was having these weird glimpses, and as I started remembering all this and remembering my most recent past life and talking to my son about that portrait, I was like, oh, I wonder. So I started like going online and trying my hardest to like look up the picture and stuff. And it's funny because I found like, so my son in my most recent past life is still alive, and I saw a video clip of him, and he was like talking about the same painting, and he pointed out this woman, and he was like, yeah, she was really beautiful, but apparently like she wasn't a good person. But his face, he had like a little like funny kind of like smirk, like, and I think it's because he was remembering his dad being like, F this bitch, like, just because to this day I'm sure he doesn't know why his dad was freaking out about that painting, because his dad didn't know why he was freaking out about that painting, and it's because I was there. I just kept getting reincarnated in the same family, and I wasn't learning anything. I wasn't learning like anything at all, and so literally our god and goddess up there were like, yeah, she can't keep getting reincarnated into rich white men. It's not working. Like, it's not working. We need something different. Yeah, and so it's just weird. It's just weird. Some people are like walking by and I keep getting weird looks, so I'm just gonna like cut it off, especially because I'm just like rambling right now. But yeah, that happens. Oh my god, yeah.